The Hīt Offensive, also known as Operation Desert Lynx, was an offensive launched by the Iraqi government during the Anbar offensive, with the goal of recapturing the town of Hīt and the Hīt District from ISIL. After the Iraqi forces recaptured the city of Ramadi, Hīt and Fallujah were the only cities still under the control of ISIL in the Anbar Governorate. Iraqi forces fully recaptured of Hīt and the rest of the Hīt District on 14 April 2016. Background. On 19 February, it was revealed that the next target of Iraqi operations in the Anbar province was going to be the town of Hīt, with an estimated 12,000 civilians and 400 ISIL militants in the town, and many more ISIL militants in the surrounding area. On 23 February, the Iraqi government deployed reinforcements to the Al-Assad airbase near Hīt, in preparation for a future offensive to recapture both Qabisa and the Hīt district from ISIL. On the same day, clashes erupted between local Sunni tribesmen and ISIL forces in the Hīt district. On the next day, the US-led coalition destroyed the ISIL headquarters in Hīt and Qabisa, killing multiple ISIL militants. On 28 February, the Iraqi government warned the civilians in Qabisa and the Hīt district to leave within 48 hours, to avoid an imminent offensive to recapture those areas. On 8 March, ISIL forces abandoned the Zanqa district, without any resistance against Iraqi government fighters. The offensive. On 12 March, the Iraqi government launched the offensive to recapture the Hīt district from ISIL. On the same day, US-led coalition forces conducted several airstrikes within Hīt, killing a number of ISIL leaders and militants, which Iraqi officials confirmed. On 13 March, ISIL reportedly pulled out most of its fighters from the Hīt area on which security forces were advancing, a military spokesman said. The majority of Daesh fighters in Hīt, Rabba and Qabisa have fled through the desert to other regions. Yahya Rasool, Iraq's top security spokesman, told the press. Earlier, an army general and a mayor said that ISIL had also pulled its fighters out of Araba, a desert town in Anbar, and headed to Al-Qaim. On 14 March, an armed group of young people in Hīt district opened fire on a detachment belonging to ISIL, near a house inhabited by ISIL members, killing 6 ISIL members and burning the vehicle. On 17 March, Iraqi security forces and allied Sunni tribal paramilitary units, backed by Iraqi aircraft, fought with ISIL militants and drove them out of al-Muhammadi, which is located northwest of Ramadi and southeast of it. Sources said that Iraqi soldiers killed at least 21 militants in the battles, and raised the Iraqi flag on a building in the village. Meanwhile, more troops and Sunni tribal units, backed by US-led coalition and Iraqi aircraft, advanced during the day in two routes from the Al-Assad airbase towards Hīt and the nearby town of Qabisa. On 19 March, the Iraqi army recaptured the town of Qabisa, to the west-southwest of Hīt. On the same day, ISIL beheaded 5 civilians, considering them to be Iraqi government spies, in front of the families. On 20 March, 20 ISIL fighters were killed during a battle with Iraqi forces near Hīt. On 21 March, the Iraqi army came within 1 kilometer of the eastern outskirts of Hīt. On the same day, Iraqi forces paused offensive operations, to give the remaining civilians in the district time to flee. On the 22nd of March, at least 10,000 residents of Hīt abandoned the city, with another estimated 25,000 still left inside it. Between 25 to 30 March, the US-led coalition launched 17 airstrikes against ISIL ISIL positions in and around Hīt. On the 31st of March 17 ISIL militants were killed in the Hīt by coalition airstrikes. 8 Iraqi soldiers were also killed after an ISIL suicide car bomber detonated explosives near an Iraqi army convoy advancing towards the town of Hīt. The Iraqi army managed to recapture areas to the south and west of Hīt on the same day. A security source announced that another 60 ISIL militants were killed in an aerial bombing by Iraqi F-16 fighter jets on the strongholds and gatherings in the districts of Sharqa and Hīt. On April 11, the Iraqi army recaptured the northern edge of the city. The offensive was reported to have been delayed earlier because hundreds of roadside bombs littering the surrounding area slowed progress for days. The Iraqi troops worked to encircle the city. Furthermore, it was reported that a significant number of troops had been pulled out of Anbar Governorate earlier to protect protesters in Baghdad, which also resulted in delays. On the 2nd of April, Iraqi government forces carried out a string of counter-terrorism operations in close proximity to the town of Hīt, and managed to recapture the regions of Baysatin, Moror, Saklat, and Askari. Nearly 100 ISIL fighters and 15 Iraqi soldiers were killed during the offensive. Iraqi fighter jets also bombed an ISIL base and killed 13 terrorists elsewhere in Anbar, while a weapons depot and a tunnel were destroyed in the Al-Sen and Al-Marg districts of Hīt. Iraqi security forces and allied paramilitary Sunni tribal fighters and managed to seize the Al-Marmil district on the eastern edge of the town. After heavy clashes with ISIL militants, Iraqi troops killed 14 ISIL militants and destroyed a booby-trapped vehicle during the clashes, which also resulted in the killing of 3 soldiers and the wounding of 4 others. On the 2nd of April, Iraqi officials reported that around 1,500 prisoners, mostly civilians, were freed from an ISIL underground prison near Hīt. This was denied a day later by Major General Ali Ibrahim Daban, the army commander responsible for the area. He said that no prison was found, but that civilians, mostly families, had been evacuated from Hīt. Other officials confirmed that, on the 3rd of April, Iraqi forces recaptured the Hīt training camp from ISIL, along with the surrounding areas, reducing ISIL control of the Hīt district to the town of Hīt. On the 5th of April, it was reported that the Iraqi security forces had recaptured more than 70% of the Hīt district. The state TV reported a local commander saying that the military had routed ISIL from the city, but that fighting was still going on. The Iraqi army's control of the town appeared to be incomplete and fragile. An Iraqi commander informed that the insurgents had tried to retake a main street but were repelled. Iraqi forces also managed to seize the government compound and raised the Iraqi flag on a main building. After ISIL militants withdrew from the downtown and eastern part of the town, on the 8th of April, Iraqi forces recaptured the Hīt town center and expelled ISIL forces from most of the city, but fighting still continued in the city. At least 30 Iraqi soldiers were killed, and more than 50 were wounded in the clashes. On the 10th of April, Iraqi soldiers took control of the Al-Qala and Umal districts. 6 Iraqi soldiers were killed, and 13 others were injured during one incident, as 8 land mines exploded while an Iraqi army convoy was passing through Hammam Street in central Hīt, destroying 4 military vehicles. U.S. coalition warplanes also bombarded an ISIL post in the area of Jazirat, close to the town of Khan al-Baghdadi, killing 16 ISIL militants. On the 11th of April, Iraqi forces had raised the Iraqi flag flag over the local municipal building, and confirmed they were in complete control of the city center. Abdul Ghani al-Asadi, head of Iraq's counter-terrorism service, claimed that they were in complete control of the town. He said his forces still needed to clear a few neighborhoods where fighting was ongoing, but insisted that the ISIL militants were fleeing. On the 12th of April, Iraqi security forces managed to recapture the Hīt Teaching Hospital and the Al-Jamaya neighborhood in central Hīt, after fierce battles against ISIL fighters, resulting in the killing of 40 ISIL fighters. On the same day, the commander of the 3rd Special Operations Brigade in the Anti-Terrorism Directorate, Sami Kadim al-Ardi, announced the liberation of Al-Zohar, Al-Qadisiyah and Al-Shohada neighborhoods in Hīt, with the backing by the Iraqi Army's 16th Brigade. Commander of Anbar Operations Command, Maj. Gen. Ismail al-Mathlawi, announced the killing of 4 ISIL militants, including a suicide bomber in the Hīt District on the same day. On the 13th of April, 33 ISIL militants were killed during an operation to liberate a neighborhood in central Hīt. British warplanes carried out airstrikes on the same day that helped in destroying one of the last remaining strong points of the militants on the eastern outskirts of the town and struck an ISIL machine gun position. The airstrikes allowed Iraqi forces to enter the town's hospital, where they found a booby-trapped ambulance which was later destroyed by RAF jets. On the 14th of April, Iraqi forces fully recaptured the town of Hīt, along with the remainder of the Hīt district. British warplanes destroyed boats that were being used to evacuate ISIL fighters from the town. Aftermath: 40 ISIL members who were trying to escape from the town were arrested by Iraqi security forces on the 16th of April. On the 23rd of April, Iraqi army liberated the Al-Bunaim area to the west of the Hīt district. Dozens of ISIL militants were killed during the operation. On the 29th of April, Iraqi security forces and allied paramilitary Sunni tribal units, backed by Iraqi and US-led coalition aircraft, freed the villages of Khazraj and Nuwaim in west of the town of Hīt, resulting in the killing of 13 IS militants and 2 soldiers and the wounding of 5 others. Meanwhile, Iraqi troops killed another suicide bomber wearing an explosive vest near the police station in the town of Qubaysa. Also on the same day, Islamic State has issued a news release claiming to have carried out a suicide attack on a police station in the same town, killing over 50 police officers and soldiers. According to the terrorist group's statement, 4 ISIS militants attacked the station, 2 detonated their explosives and 2 returned to ISIS headquarters. On the afternoon of the 2nd of May, US-led coalition aircraft bombed ISIL gatherings and strongholds in the Faleh al-Sharqiyya area in the Hīt district, killing 11 ISIL members. Iraqi security forces were able to dismantle 200 explosive devices in the eastern axis of the Hīt district, as well as destroying a 23mm machine gun and a rocket launcher.